Hello and welcome back again. Whether you're teaching online, live, dual mode, or even an in-person class where you want students to write quizzes or tests in their own time, or if you want to use quiz and testing as a learning tool, then you're going to want to know how to create one in Moodle. So, as always, you're going to flick editing on, navigate to the week or module in which you want to have students write the test, add an activity or resource, and select quiz. And whether it's an exam, midterm, it's all the same. So quiz will be the appropriate option. So let's say this is quiz 1. You can choose to add a description. You do not have to. So timing. This might be something that they have a whole day to write. Maybe it's only accessible during class time. That's entirely up to you. So let's say it's something that they're writing June 6th and they do it in their own time, so they have the entire day. So it would start right at midnight on June 6th, and it's going to close a minute before midnight. So this would just mean that they have the entire day to write and they can do it at any time they want. You can also change this to align with your class time. Time limit is very common for quizzing or exams. So by default, it's a minute. You can change that however you want. So this just means how much time they have to actually write from the time that they start. So we'll say they have an hour or 60 minutes. When time expires, you're going to want to leave this as the default. It just means that everything they've written will be automatically submitted and nothing gets lost. Attempts allowed. Most commonly, it is going to be one attempt. They can't go back and rewrite because they didn't like their results or anything like that. If you're using testing as a learning tool and not really an assessment piece, you might want to change that to unlimited, but it's entirely up to you, and most times it is just going to be one attempt allowed. Layout. We do encourage everyone to leave this as one question per page. It saves each answer when you change the page. So if something were to ever go wrong and maybe someone's browser crashed or their computer shut down for whatever reason, it saves everything that they've done per page so they don't lose an entire page of work. Question behavior. Deferred feedback is the most logical option. It just means that they don't see anything while they're writing, other than the quiz itself. And most times they do want questions shuffled. So if you have students writing in a computer lab per se, they probably aren't going to be answering the same question at the same time. Review options. This is already set up to be what the default should be. So when they are writing, all they can see is the attempt itself, and they do not get their mark until after the quiz is closed, meaning after everyone in the class has written. You can change this as you see fit. Maybe you want them to be able to see more. Maybe you want them to be able to go back and look at the actual test itself. Or maybe you want to give specific feedback on certain questions. That's entirely up to you. If you're using testing as a learning tool, you can allow them to see feedback as they're writing, but that's most times not going to be the case. So we encourage you to kind of leave this as is unless you have reason not to. We will cover Respondus in a separate video, so that would be the Safe Exam Browser. You can also require students to use a password, so maybe if they are writing in a computer lab, you don't want someone to sneak in and write off campus. That would create an unfair advantage. So you can choose to lock the exam with a password. Again, that is entirely up to you and really depends on the situation in which you have students writing. And then once you've gone through everything and you're happy with your settings, you'll click Save and Return to Course. Now, of course, you're not going to give them a blank quiz. So you go into your quiz, and from here you can add questions. You can upload a test bank if that's what you want to use. Yeah, so in the question settings, you can change, maybe this quiz is worth 20 of their final mark. You can add questions here. Questions can be shuffled. We did already do that in the settings, so it's really not going to make a difference at this point. And from here, you can also view your students' results, how they did on each question. And we will cover overrides and such in the next video. So yeah, that is the basics on how you create a quiz. We will add one question just for example purposes. So let's click add a new question. It can be any of these type. Right now, question banks are only supported with multiple choice questions. So if you do plan to use a question bank, it will have to be multiple choice. You can enter short answer questions and such manually though. So for example, let's go with a multiple choice question. We're going to click add and one. What is 2 plus 2? By default, this question is worth 1 point toward the total. Students only get to choose one answer. It's not a multiple answers could be right sort of idea. And then say 1. And obviously that's not the right answer, so we'll leave it at none. We're going to put 2.5. And let's say we throw in our correct answer there. So we'll leave that at 100%. They do get the 1 point total for that. And we'll push 100. I'm going to click Save Changes. And now you'll see that your quiz does indeed have a question in it. So yeah, you can keep adding them manually. You can check out exploring how to upload a question bank. And then yeah, get a breakdown on answers and how students are doing.